Hi, I'm going to go over the assignment for 1.5 that is due in 2 weeks. Um, it's it's going to take some time, so that's why I've given you a little bit of extra time, and that's why last week, this week, and I think even next week, you only have one discussion to do. So keep that in mind, pace yourself, and make sure you carve out enough time to get this done. As well, you need to have somebody look it over. So make sure you've built in enough time to have somebody look it over and provide you with feedback. Okay, and I'm going to put some examples of what I'm looking for with this video. Okay, so we go back to 1.5 and we scroll down to consolidation. Okay. So I'm just going to make that larger. Okay, so we've reached the end of the unit. This is a time for you to evaluate your work based on the established criteria and assign a mark. Your teacher will provide feedback and a mark. So you're going to look for 4 pieces of learning to reflect on. Okay, then you're going to create your reflections. And then reflection review is what you're going to have somebody look over, and then you're going to submit your work. So the reflection review, there's a little paper for them to fill out. You need to provide them with the reflections, okay? So you choose your 4 pieces, you write your reflections on each, then you give your reflections to somebody else to look over, maybe a teacher, maybe a parent, maybe another friend, or a coach, or even a tutor, something like that. And then together you look at what you've done, and they fill out the form for you, and you submit to me the reflections and the form that your reviewer filled out for you. Okay, so this is due after Easter. I'm just going to get the date for you. It is due April 7th. Okay, so the list of the topics from the 4 pieces of learning will also be attached with this video. Okay, and you can go through and choose from 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and even 1.5. Okay. For each piece, you will be writing a reflection or a Google slide or some kind of text or a speech. Okay. You're going to provide real life examples to show how you can use this learning in your day-to-day life. For example, if you feel that your time management skills are already well developed before you worked on them with me, then you're not going to pick those to look at. But maybe you enjoyed looking at the problem solving topics or the multiple intelligences, and maybe those helped you develop as a learner. So those would be perfect candidates for your reflection. Okay, so you're going to write a reflection about each of the 4 pieces of learning that you've chosen. If you're doing a written reflection, then you do 1 paragraph per piece of learning. Okay, if you're doing a digital presentation such as PowerPoint, Prezi, Google Slides, then you want 4 slides. Okay, 1 slide for each piece of learning. And then if you're doing a video or an audio, I would say 2 to 4 minutes. Okay? So when you do your reflection, you're going to describe the topic or the learning. Tell me how it was significant to you, how you can use it now as a grade 8 student working towards grade 9, and then a future application. So maybe later on in high school or in your future. Once you've done those 4, then you're going to invite a family member or a friend or someone you trust to look over your reflections. They're going to look over your reflections, and you're going to explain the work that you've done for the unit. And then after they have finished, they are going to fill out this paper. Okay, so they will fill out this column, comments from the reviewer, and then you will fill this out. How are the comments helpful to you? Okay, put your name and the date there. Okay, let's make that full screen again. So yeah, the purpose of having somebody else look at it is to get someone else's perspective on your work and on your development as a learner. So pay attention to the comments that they write or type in the box, and it may help you further develop your learning skills. So once they've filled that out, you're going to take time to think about how their comments can be helpful to you and make note of that on the bottom of the chart. This is the important part of the reflection process. And if you can find ways to use your reviewers' comments, you will continue to improve as a learner and increase your chances of reaching your goals. Okay, so your reviewer might identify, help you identify what you truly learned, understand more about the topic, other ways for improvement, or more ways you can apply this to your learning in the future. Okay, when you're ready to submit your work, you're going to submit your 4 learning reflections, and again, they might be paragraphs, they might be slides, they might be a speech. And then you're also going to attach the reflection review sheet. Okay, there's your rubric, and there's where you hit the submit button. So again, the list of topics will be attached to this video, as well as some examples of what I'm looking for. So some paragraph examples, some Google Slide examples, and a speech example. Okay? Email if you have any questions or run into any issues. Thank you.